G'day guys, I just thought I'd do a quick update on the coupe. Seem to find myself going ahead, working on it, getting stuck in and then realising I'm not filming what I'm doing. So yeah, I just thought today I'd do this quick update and just shows what I've been up to. So basically I've got both quarters pretty much welded in. So I've done all around the wheel arches. Obviously I need to still clean the welds up yet. It's been welded, that joint's been welded inside, secured to the bead pillar, and probably looks a little messy, but I got a little carried away. I thought what I'd do is I'd just weld the thing completely. So I filled the spot welds and then I welded right down the seam. And at this stage, I'm not sure, I was thinking about maybe I could lead wipe it, with it being sort of in the door shut area. I was thinking that, you know, it's going to be subject to the doors closing, and you know, if you put too much body filler in there, maybe it'll crack or whatever. But we'll see. I think lead wiping would be cool though. And just been working on the door gaps, so trying to get them as close to 5mm as I possibly can. So yeah. So in this particular case, I've had to cut a bit off the bottom edge of the door. Not much, I mean, you know, maybe 2mm or whatever, just to even it up. What I've always noticed is that coupes always seem to be a little bit wide at the top. So in this particular case, well, I didn't have to end up adding it to the top of the door. I ended up taking it off the bottom. So, you know, these things weren't exactly built so accurate, and the driver's side's actually completely different to the passenger side. So anyway, still haven't welded up that marker light yet, keep forgetting that. Welded in the back panel, so that's come out all right. And probably notice I've got XA tail lights in it, even though it's an XB. I think the XA tail lights just look awesome. So this car is not meant to be like a factory restoration. I'm just doing this car the way I like it. Sort of, I think if you're going to build a car, you should build it the way that makes you happy. So that's what I'm doing. And the boot is pretty sad looking, but it's basically just there, you know, for fit up. So once I'm pretty much done, I'll send it off to the dippers, and it's going to have some rust repairs needed too. So the boot's lining up all right. I mean, like I say, I'm working on trying to get a 5mm gap, and it's pretty close. Up top there, it's still a bit unhappy, bearing in mind that, you know, most of the parts on this car are non-original. It's basically so many different bits and pieces coming together in one place. So this quarter panel on the passenger side, it actually was an original to that tail panel, but this quarter panel is not original to this tail panel. So I've sort of had to match it all in. So that's where it's joined. Actually, I've just reminded myself that that little hole there needs to be plugged up. That's not a, yeah. And over on this side, that's where she welds in. What I did on this one is I put a copper plate on the outside and clamped it in place over the join, and then I got up inside and welded it, because I didn't want, I'll just see if I can get in here. I didn't want to sort of weld and then have to grind the weld off, and then, you know, it'd end up with less strength. So I thought, I'll put the copper plate on the outside, I'll weld it from the inside, and then, you know, I won't bother sort of grinding too much off, because I'm not sure what I'm doing inside the boot yet. I may even actually have a panel covering this whole area, so I figure that's probably the best way to go. Leave it with plenty of strength and don't grind the weld off. So I've still got to sorry. So just looking up top here, got all the plug welds done. Obviously need to be cleaned up and have some epoxy sprayed on them. I still haven't welded up the top of the quarter panel at the window join yet, but that's coming. And same on this side. The quarters all welded in. Plug welds are done inside the wheel arches. She's all welded along here. Well, actually I welded from the inside. So that's all welded in. And yeah, bottom's welded in. And again, I'm trying to see if I can get my panel lines, or panel gaps, sorry, panel gaps right. Always know what you're going to say before you start the video. As soon as you start saying it, you get lost for words. So trying to get, that's probably more than 5mm, but I'd be happy with that just to leave it as it is. And inside, again, I welded the thing home. I actually had to build this up to get the right panel gap, so I've actually got, I don't know if you can see on the camera, but I built that edge up. It's probably built up about 3 or 4mm in some places. And the part of the corner panel that actually lapped over here, it's gone, so it's actually welded to the backing plate. And the reason why is because when this quarter panel, when I removed it in my haste, I didn't drill out the spot weld, the original spot welds. It wasn't just that I was in a rush. I could hardly see the spot welds, and I just had a feeling that if I started trying to remove that way by drilling out spot welds and trying to chisel it off, that I was just going to wreck it. So I took the easy way out and basically put the grinder straight down that edge and cut it off. When I came to, originally what I was going to do is I was just going to simply stitch weld it back to the original fold, but I looked at it closer and I could see that there was actually a fair bit of surface rust built up in between, and I thought, no, considering what I'm doing, I thought I'll just cut it off. So I basically got rid of it and cleaned this surface right up, so it's all good metal, and then just stitch weld the quarter panel to that and then build it up in the areas that I needed. So on this side I actually had to add a little bit to the top of the quarter panel just in this particular place here, so the rest of it was pretty much okay. This guard, I haven't looked at this guard for a while, but I'll coming back to it. I'm just trying to I mean, I can't really say that I'm going to panel finish it, but you could use that term, I guess. Trying to get as much of dents and distortion out as I can, because this guard was pretty banged up. You can still see highs and lows here, and I'm going to try to get a lot better than that. But I just don't have a better passenger guard to use. So it costs a fair bit of money to have these panels chemically dipped, and you don't know what they're going to be like till you get them back. So if you spend $200 or $300, I don't know what it is, I can't remember because I get so much stuff done at once. You know, you get the guard, maybe the guard's worth $100, $200 to begin with, then you spend $200 or $300 to have it dipped, and you get it back and you go, oh well, you know, you've got to work with what you've got. This guard here on the driver's side, I'm going to take that off. I'll probably use that for that ute that I'm going to do later on. Not happy with the repair that somebody did here previously. At a glance it might look alright, but it's just, I don't know if you can even see, but it's all kind of out of shape, and even that's after I've spent 10 minutes sort of like trying to knock it into shape. And I think what I'll do, I'm going to use this one here, which hasn't been repaired yet. On a whole, most of the guard is pretty good. Fairly straight. It's fairly straight, and the only problem with it is that rust area there. So that's going to be a relatively easy fix. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to put that guard on the car. So, other than that, I've still got a little rust repair to do here, right on the bottom corner of the driver's door, and there's a little rust repair to do there. So it's all coming together pretty well. And yeah, I'm really happy with the progress. Another thing that's got to go are these drip rails. I don't know what a lot of people think of them, but I think they're ugly. And because this car is custom, I don't need anything that's ugly. So they got to go. How I'm going to do it, haven't totally made up my mind. I have thought about cutting it off really close to the actual outer edge, and then trimming off the excess back to where the roofline folds down, stitch welding it, and then actually adding, I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but adding this piece back on again. So in other words, taking out the gap. So when you look down, there's probably a good 10-12 mil of width before you come to this part. So what I'm saying is taking out all of that width and then putting that right back hard against the bodywork, so it gives you a line to work to. So we'll see. Yeah, so that's about it. Like I said, just wanted to do a quick update, let you all see where it's up to. Bought a really cool little tool today. I know probably a lot of you have got one already. I've never actually used one, but it's one of these little belt sanders. I think they're so cool. I've never used one before, got stuck in today with it, just working around those door jambs, and I think it's awesome. So really happy with that. Another thing I thought I'd mention is this contraption that I've got the car sitting on. It's basically a homemade chassis jig, and it's originally, well, the two main support beams were holding up our sign at the other yard for the crane business. But so anyway, when I came to build this car, you're basically talking about a body shell which is broken down into all different components. So you had a front cut, you had a floor pan which was salvaged from a sedan, and the reason being is that the coupe floor pan was so rotted out and the sills were so rotted out, it just wasn't worth worrying about. And so it had to be basically built in separate components, assembled together on something which was obviously rigid and would hold everything together in its with the right measurements. Just remembered, I had a little piece here just to give you an idea. This is a piece of the original sill. So yeah, completely gone. So what we did, we built this this chassis jig, and basically got all of our reference points from the sedan, which is sitting on the rotisserie. And yeah, we set up an attachment here at the back. Attaches basically to where the rear spring hangers go, and then another attachment to the front spring hanger, and then another one for the gearbox mounts, and then obviously the front one right at the front of the chassis where it just sits there. Yeah, and so during the whole process of assembling the front, the floor pan, the back tubs and the roof and everything, we're able to keep everything intact. When we originally set it up, as I said, we set it up with that sedan, but we also then lifted the Landau that I had here on as well, just to double check everything. And yeah, so that's why we've gone from here. I had a mate came in the other day, and he says, "Oh, why aren't you building it on a rotisserie?" And I was like, well, that's why. Yeah. So when this thing's just a little bit further on, I'll probably throw it on that rotisserie over there, and yeah, just sort of carry on with it. So yeah, all right. Well, I guess that's about it for the day. So thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll have another episode out soon.